Hello, just got back from the Chicago area. I have some Midwestern beers. This is Katy from Second Shift Brewing. Probably one of the only year-round Brettanomyces fermented barrel-aged beer that's in cans, especially at a pretty reasonable price. They call it just a Brett beer. It's aged in oak barrels for 3 months with Brettanomyces lambicus, and it's 4.5% or 5.4% alcohol. And they don't call it a saison or farmhouse ale, but that's basically what everyone else calls it. I think that's what it's categorized on the beer websites as. Never had this before. Never had anything from Second Shift, so this will be very interesting. Ooh, quite carbonated, as you might guess. So I wonder if it's naturally carbonated. Ooh, and I am smelling some very winey notes coming out of this beer. Doesn't have super high ratings, but Brett forward beers are controversial, sort of, I guess. A lot of people just don't like them. Brettanomyces can create weird flavors, especially this variety, Brett lambicus. And it's got nice little geyser of bubbles coming from the middle. Don't know if you can see that on camera, but they're really tiny bubbles coming up really perfectly from there. It's awesome. I think in part because it's a little bit dirty in the very center of this glass, but it makes a cool effect. But not overcarbed. Not sure if it's naturally carbonated. Maybe partially. I don't know. I like that more when I get my nose deep in the glass. At first, it was a little bit odd. Yeah, it doesn't smell that much like a saison. I don't know what they use for the primary fermentation of this. They don't tell you. I don't know. I guess I'm getting some like pear notes, that pear skin sort of thing. It's not sour because there's no lactobacillus happening in here. Probably wasn't in the barrels long enough to pick up any acetic character. A little winey. It smells, I guess, grapey, pear, orchard fruit, but not quite peaches and tropical notes. I don't think Brett lambicus does that as much. It smells pretty good though. Pretty easy drink. It's like sweeter than I thought it was going to be on the tongue. Not one of those ultra dry Brett beers. Not huge on the tannins. 3 months in barrels. I mean, it could pick up a lot of tannins. They'll probably build as I drink it, but yeah, when I first got a whiff of this and when I opened the can, I thought that maybe it was going to be really dry and kind of winey and medicinal, but this is pretty mellow. Yeah, it's a little bit of oak definitely in there. Almost cream soda notes, but like not that sweet, not ridiculous. But pretty nice, pretty approachable. Though it isn't bone dry, it's still pretty refreshing. More like generic candy flavors like Smarties on the tongue, with a little bit of, it's interesting, I guess it's the barrel and the Brett is almost bringing in some almost like sherry flavors, which is pretty cool. It just stops just short of being like caramely, and you can see it's a very pale beer, so I don't know if that's coming apart from the malt. Yeah, it's not caramel, it's more like vanilla, I guess. Vanillas and crab apples and pears and white grapes, that sort of stuff. I think it's a great introductory Brett barrel-aged beer. It's not going to be super sour like a lot of barrel-aged Brett beers that have, lactobacillus or pediococcus going on in there. It's not really funky barnyard. It's not big on like mushroomy hay manure. It doesn't have any of that stuff going on really. It definitely smells like, you're kind of in a field of flowers downwind from a barnyard, perhaps. But nothing too scary or like moldy smelling. Yeah, I recommend grabbing this one if you're interested in this stuff, but you don't want to drop a whole bunch of money. I got this can for under $5. Whereas if you buy, a 500 milliliter bottle of some mixed firm beer for barrel aged Brett beer, it's gonna be a lot more expensive, and it might be, really sour or really funky. But I would recommend this one. It's not the most complex thing in the world. It's not knocking my socks off. I'm really happy it exists. It's a pretty rare thing to encounter. So I'll keep doing this second shift, and I'd like to try some of their other Brett beers in the future for sure. I think this deserves a 4. Just warm up the throat a little bit. Yep, 4. Goodbye.